Welcome back, mutants. Strebo here with you for my ongoing writer-director commentary for C for Chaos, the web series. Episode 3 went up early this week, today, or last night rather, and it is now there for your edification, so you can check it out. This episode features the debut of the secret society known as the Collectors. I'm going to try to skim the line between telling you just enough to keep you intrigued, but not spoiling things to come, because as this series unfolds, a lot of things that happen in this episode are going to come back into play later on. And I don't want to spoil everything for you. So, let's check it out and see what is up. I'm hitting play now. Here we have that awesome opening animation that Johnny Brento came up with, and this is actually the shorter version, which is, I asked him to revise it a little bit, make it a little bit shorter, to make it closer to more traditional sort of TV titles, because even though this is a web series, you know, TV is the medium we're kind of calling upon here, using viewers' familiarity with that kind of thing. I just love this whole animation, the way it slowly zooms in on the planet Earth, and then boom, you have the C for Chaos titles pop up. I guess I'm going to have to talk you through that every time, but that gives me a little bit of time here as the episode unfolds, and then you get this kind of info dump title card that you wouldn't normally see on a TV show, but that's what Brent went with. And here is Kia St. James, one of our news reporters. This is actually Whitney, who did an excellent job with this. We had several people audition for the roles of the news reporters, and we actually had them all read all of the news parts. We had all three ladies read all those parts, and then we just kind of picked and choose between which ones we thought were the best. And I went with that goofy name, Kia St. James, because I wanted all the news reporters' names to be plays off of porn stars' names, just because I feel like the media kind of F's with everybody. So I was just letting you know, like, hey, this is what you're getting. And funny thing is that I think the guys in Rodney Cecil's Psycho Hero did the exact same thing. So that's funny. It's one of those little creative memes, because I know they haven't seen this, and we came out with this years ago, even though we're just now releasing it. All right, here we are in the comic shop. Yay! The Comics Conspiracy. The main thing I lament is we never got good shots of the exterior of the comic shop, just because when we were there, we were always so busy shooting inside. I love this little speech that Coy is giving the boys, where he's trying to explain subtext of this spiritual journey that this character Avatar is going on. Avatar being an actual character I created for a comic book that was never published. And at the end of it, the kids go, "Well, does anybody die in it?" Because that's all they care about. But the funny thing is, what Coy says there is, he maps out this entire movie. What he's actually saying is what's going to happen to Art as it goes on. And here we see Jimmy and Kilroy, played by our good friends Steven Tucker and Belton Ben Horton. These guys are just phenomenal. They're both longtime friends, and had a lot of experience in local theater and whatnot. And when we did the casting, they came in and read, and I didn't know what to expect, but they just had such great chemistry that we knew we had to put them together. They did a fine job with this dialogue. It's pretty wordy. You know, at the time, I was really trying to put just every word I could on the page to make all this stuff pay off. This stuff they're talking about, the Wicker Man and this and that, they're actually setting up a lot of the mythology. A lot of things are going to come back into play that you see discussed here in this comic shop. I love that shot there where Kilroy says, "You don't even know how to wipe properly," and Ben reaches back, or not Ben, but the character Jimmy reaches back and like rubbing his butt. Like, yeah, I do. But some of their banter is hilarious. Now you'll see here, we went to great lengths, Gio and I, to come up with ideas for t-shirts, and G actually made these shirts. You can see a Nosferatu image on Jimmy's shirt there, and we've got unique MVP JR shirt there featuring my face with a bullet through the forehead, which we thought would be funny for all. We figured if enough people hated me, maybe we could sell this shirt of me with a bullet through my forehead. All right, here we see Art, and he's working on a drawing, and this the lightning bolt is a symbol that's going to come back into play throughout this story, and some of the things it represents. And already it's kind of, the pieces are kind of winding together from what Coy was saying to what Art is doing. And there we show Art. He seems like kind of a whiny beehole here early on, but he just got dumped by his girlfriend. So that's the emotional state we're picking him up in, and we want to show that he's going through these trying times, and that's how you have a character that grows. He works his way out of it. I really love the conversation here with the girls. Whoop, there was a YouTube glitch. We had a compression error there, and lost a word or two of dialogue. I've considered actually just posting script pages for people, because you can't hear the dialogue in half these scenes, because we did. That's the dangers of shooting, and you're not recording the sound directly into the camera and doing it from an external source. And then we didn't know how to match up the external recordings with the actual footage. We didn't do it right. We didn't have enough people to run the slate all the time, or to keep up with the edit logs. It was always something, always something. That's why we run the sound into the cameras now, so we can cut out that part and we get better sound with our movies. These are our lovely young ingenues, Bianca and Emma, and played by Adriana and Nicole, and they're both stunning. Neither one had any acting experience. Of course, the two kids here have no acting experience. This whole scene is anchored by four actors. We don't see Tony in this episode, or Amy, but Ronnie Cruz playing Coy here, the artist, and Scott Thomas are the only actors in this darn scene, and they had to help elevate everybody else. Everybody else was a complete amateur. Just did it just because they wanted to be in the movie and have fun with it. We had access to the comic shop because of my mentor, Rick Davis, owner of the Comics Conspiracy. He said, just shoot whatever you want here. And this is what we came up with. At the time, I was always real inspired by Kevin Smith movies, Quentin Tarantino, real talky, wordy stuff, and I just thought, I'll just put as much dialogue on the page as I can. I don't have to say it, and they have to figure that out. But, everybody did a good job bringing these characters to life. I just lament that I didn't shoot it better, but what can you do? These are, this is the first things we ever shot. Actually, this close-up of Scott, where he walks into frame there, he's got the gunsmith cat action figure behind his head, playing character of Art. That was the first shot of the movie, period, that we shot. We started with Scott, and we're like, okay, we're going to start with you, dude, and we put him out there and just went with it. Scott had a lot of jitter. He had a lot of butterflies that day. He kind of had a meltdown and a breakdown. I had to take him out back and give him a little pep talk. And it's like, dude, you can do this. You can do it. You were phenomenal in the reading. You connect with the character, because Scott, as a struggling actor, he could identify with the idea of an artist wanting to express himself in the way that art is. And that's one of my hammer hitting the audience over the head with the character named Art. Yeah, because in my mind, his pursuit, this is what art should be about. This is what artists' pursuit should be about. Just the pure drive to find new expressions of human spirituality, entertainment, religion, sex, death, everything through the various art forms. These guys everybody did a commendable job. As I said, there's only really two people that want to be professional, that are professional actors in this scene, and they had to kind of bring everybody else up. Ronnie Cruz did a phenomenal job as Coy here. Coy is actually a tribute to my friend Coy, who used to work at the comic shop, went on to draw for Marvel Comics, and he's just a cool dude. And I just wanted to homage him, so I gave this character his name. And he and the character of Art have the backstory of both having worked at the comic shop. I never worked at a comic shop. I just always went in, and especially here at the Comics Conspiracy, I always talked to the owner, Rick, who was an inker in the 80s and mid 90s, and he would give me a lot of tips and mentored me, and he did that to a lot of people, and you can see how generous he was in that, and how he just let us come in and take over the shop here. Now here, this is just typical banter. They're talking about sexy time stuff. I talked over the part. I don't have the audio playing so I can talk to you guys, but I love the part where Coy breaks his pencil lead because Bianca says, well, she says to Emma, tell me if you weren't Avatara being analog for Supergirl, by the way. If you weren't Avatar and you could fly around the world, you wouldn't let your flower pot soak in the sunlight, meaning, not wear panties while you're flying in the atmosphere. I just thought that was kind of sexy. I tried to be clever, guys. There's a lot of F-bombs dropped in this. The majority of those are ad-libbed by Steven Tucker, though. But that's how he found the character of Kilroy. He brought it to life. This final sequence here where Jimmy says Kilroy's out back fighting with somebody, it turned out better than it did in the original edit. I was never happy with it. Plus, we had so many audio problems with this on the day because the wind was going so heavy, and we were dealing with the reality of shooting with live traffic outside. And but I just wanted to have a cool introduction for the character of Jacob Johnson and start to give you the idea that this guy is something more than he appears to be. So speaking of Jacob Johnson, if you want to know more about him, check out the Chaos Chronicles, because issue 1 is posted over at chaoschronicles.webcomic.ws, where you can read the first story, Touch of Death, Hand of Life, featuring the adventures of young Jacob Johnson. So you get multimedia crossover backstory, guys. Who else gives you this kind of stuff? Steve, playing Kilroy here with my image on his shirt, did a great job with this little action sequence. I just kind of told Phil and Steve what I wanted. Now let Steve work out what he wanted to do in terms of throwing punches, and he wanted to throw himself into those garbage cans and whatnot to make the scene more dynamic, and I just love that. Again, here Phil K, one of my absolute best friends in the universe, playing the role of Jacob Johnson, just because I needed somebody cool to do it. Plus, he's a martial artist, and I needed somebody. You have to have people, if you're going to do action, you have to have people that have trained in something, so they have body awareness and they can do these kind of things. Otherwise, you just end up with absolute disaster. So anyway, very, very talky, double-sized episode, but a lot of plot points laid out, a lot of character points laid out, a lot of the theme has begun to show. So there you go. We'll be back with more in 2 weeks. So hope to see you there, guys. Find us at mutantville.com. Tell your friends, share, rate, comment, subscribe.